Okay, let's get across today's headlines with Sky News senior reporter Caroline Marcus. Caroline, great to see you as always. Senator Marise Payne this morning has announced that she will retire.
Yeah, look, Erin, there was a lot of speculation about whether this was going to happen and when it was going to happen, and now it's finally happened. And she says she's going to step down sometime later this month, which of course triggers a bit of a factional battle probably in her seat. There are already a couple of contenders and we'll get to that. But first, in terms of her career, she is the longest serving female senator in this country. She served for more than 26 years. I mean, this is a woman who had achieved some of the highest positions in government without the need for quotas. You know, she was our first female defence minister. She served as a foreign affairs minister and as a human services minister. And she was the first female president of the Young Liberals, even early on in her career. So she's had an amazing professional run. She isn't finished yet in her professional life. She wants to concentrate on other things outside politics. But after 2.5 decades, she's done in that respect. In terms of who's coming next, though.
Yes, that's the big question, isn't it? What are you hearing?
Well, we're hearing that a couple of names being thrown around. One is Andrew Constance, who's a former New South Wales state minister. He, of course, failed in his campaign to take over your late dad's seat. He's now widely tipped to be having another run at a federal seat in this vacancy. Well, they're factional colleagues, so he's from the moderate side of the party as well. But the other name that's being thrown around is Warren Mundine, who is, of course, a former Labor figure turned Liberal, and he's now one of the big faces of the No campaign, which has been going very well according to polling. So he's also tipped to run for this seat. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, a lady called Pallavi Sinha as well, I've heard, is throwing her name in the hat. She's been a lawyer for 20 years and my dad was actually a very big fan of hers. Wrote her a reference for the New South Wales Upper House last year. So watch that space as well. You've got a big story today that's getting a lot of traction online.
Well, it is, and it's an issue that Australians care deeply about, and that is our National Day. I mean, even polling this year has shown 2/3 of Australians, despite all the protests and all the activism around this issue, don't want to change the date. They want January 26 to remain Australia Day. And now, in the story that we've been running on air today and online, I reveal the latest council, which is an inner city Adelaide council, has doubled down on its pushback against this day. There are now 4 South Australian councils who in the past few months have said they're not going to hold their citizenship and award ceremonies, and Unley Council says we're no longer going to even do our free community event on this day. It's a long-running event. There was no public consultation with ratepayers on either motion that was passed, and one councillor I spoke to, Jack Gaffey, who voted against both of these motions, says he doesn't think it's in line with community expectations. And
You think?
And he warns that we're going to see the floodgates open because the federal government announced in December that councils would be able to hold their citizenship ceremonies and official functions 3 days either side of January 26. So despite them saying it's the government's expectation that councils still recognise the day, what major incentive is there for them to do so if they still have the right to hold citizenship ceremonies any day they like in that week?
None. And it is just, nothing says who we are as a country right now than that story. Caroline Marcus, thank you so much for your time, as always.
Thanks, Erin.